tonight, missed opportunities to protect children from a paedophile ring. They've been found by experts after 7 people were convicted of being involved in abuse at a Glasgow property dubbed the Beastie House by victims. Also on tonight's programme, the First Minister unveils what he's called his leaner and more agile top team running his government. Heart set back at what they call highly irresponsible comments about this pitch invasion after Celtic boss Martin O'Neill dismissed claims it embarrassed Scottish football.
And coming up in tonight's sport, Motherwell boss Jens Bertolaskau is a man in demand as French club Toulouse make their move to appoint him as head coach.
Hello, I'm Laura Miller. This is Reporting Scotland. It was one of the most shocking cases of child abuse ever to be heard in Scotland's courts. Crimes of extraordinary depravity committed by a paedophile ring based at what became known as the Beastie House. Now, a review has found the victims, 3 children, were failed by Glasgow's child protection system. Services missed more than 20 chances to intervene over their welfare, including the children begging for food from neighbours and one child having 12 rotten teeth removed before the age of 5. All the agencies involved have accepted the review's findings and recommendations. Our social affairs correspondent Chris Clements reports.
Members of a paedophile ring. 7 people who were jailed last January. Seen here leaving court during the trial, it was the gang's punishment for a catalogue of abuse of children at a property in Glasgow, the so-called Beastie House. In sentencing, the judge had emphasised the horror of their crimes.
This court is used to hearing some of the worst examples of human behaviour, but such depravity as you displayed against young children is beyond my experience.
Today's review is a result of 2 years' investigation into what social services knew and when about the experiences of the children over 7 years of torment. Information between social and health services hadn't been shared. Services failed to recognise signs of harm. They only had a poor and partial understanding of the lives of the children. The head of Glasgow's Child Protection Committee says lessons must be learned.
After 50 years, I feel to be surprised, although I am shocked, and I would never give a guarantee that this could not happen again. But what I can guarantee is that as a result of this report, our systems and strategies for protecting children will improve.
The details of the report are damning. A 4-month-old was removed from the Child Protection Register, despite a health visitor warning of significant ongoing risks. There was chaotic drug use and criminality among the adults, frequent homelessness. Youngsters regularly missed medical appointments. One child had 12 teeth removed by the age of 5.
People miss the opportunity to really look at these children and make a judgment about what their everyday experience was like, and then what that everyday experience was like as it accumulated over years. And I think it was, that's the bit that's incredibly distressing, that at times these children were not seen or not heard.
These people were ultimately responsible for the abuse and were jailed for a combined total of 93 years. But the children were failed by those supposed to protect them, with missed chances to take them away from one of the worst paedophile rings ever convicted in a Scottish court.
Well, Chris is here now. Chris, this is just a horrific case on so many levels.
Yeah, crimes committed against those children included rape, attempted murder and assault, and we should say it was called Beastie House by the children in their evidence because of the infestation of insects. So that gives you a sense of the conditions these children faced. Now, to give you an idea of the overall message of this review, I'll read you a quote. It is difficult to comprehend that the physical impact and damage caused by the abuse was not observed through professionals' routine contact with the children. Staff who engaged with the review, who had reflected on this after the children's disclosures emerged, also struggled to understand this. These children were known to social services and somehow that support failed them. Now, the review makes a range of recommendations about how information is shared between services, about services, how they recognise, how they respond to risk, to evidence of harm. All the agencies involved accept all the findings in the review and those recommendations.
OK, Chris, thank you. And details of organisations offering information and support with child sexual abuse are available at bbc.co.uk/action line, or you can call the number on the screen for free at any time to hear recorded information. The First Minister has revealed his new look cabinet on the steps of Bute House today after being sworn into the role at the Court of Session. Jenny Gilruth, the former Education Secretary, received a significant promotion. She's now Deputy First Minister and takes on responsibility for finance. John Swinney said he was putting public service reform at the heart of government by appointing a specific Cabinet Secretary to oversee that. Our political correspondent Andrew Kerr has all the details.
A refreshed cabinet as the SNP embark on another 5 years in power. There's a new Deputy First Minister. The former Education Secretary, Jenny Gilruth, takes on that, and the Finance Secretary role, with a government focus on reform.
What my team will do with the focused leadership of Jenny Gilruth as Deputy First Minister, Ivan McKee as the Cabinet Secretary for Public Sector Reform, working right across government to make sure that we are reforming the public sector. We'll be taking the steps, and it should be taken as a very clear signal from what the announcements that I've made today of a government that's focusing on ensuring fiscal sustainability and meeting the needs of the public.
John Swinney presented his new team at Bute House, the First Minister's official residence. He'd been re-elected to that role in Parliament yesterday and was sworn in at the Court of Session this morning.
You swear that you will well and truly serve His Majesty, King Charles, in the office of First Minister of the Scottish Government, so help you God.
The First Minister dutifully signed the parchment and posed in his role as Keeper of the Scottish Seal, and a moment to mark the event with his family outside. From the official proceedings in the courts and chambers, it was back here to Bute House for raw politics. John Swinney hopes this is the team who will deliver. Jenny Gilruth was first in, a clear sign she was tipped for higher office.
You're going to be Deputy First Minister, Jenny?
Marion McCallum was handed the education brief. She'd been talked of as a potential deputy.
You disappointed not to get the Deputy First Minister job?
To serve your country, disappointed never.
In this trimmed-down cabinet, there's a Secretary for Public Service Reform. As mentioned, Ivan McKee goes up to cabinet to slim down the cost of government. It's a straight swap for Angela Constance and Neil Gray in their Justice and Health departments. And familiar faces. Gillian Martin's the Climate Secretary, and Shirley-Ann Somerville has housing added to the social justice brief. Then, so much speculation about Stephen Flynn, the SNP's former Westminster leader.
They're expecting you.
You've been barred.
Good things come to those who wait. He was rewarded with economy, tourism and transport. Parliament will agree to the new Cabinet Secretaries and they'll be appointed by the King. The business of governing begins. Andrew Kerr, reporting Scotland, Edinburgh.
Well, our political correspondent Kirsten Campbell joins me now from Bute House, where she's been all day. Kirsten, John Swinney's described this as a leaner cabinet. Why has he chosen to cut their number?
Well, he's reduced the cabinet in size from 12 to 9, frankly, because the government needs to save some money. There is a projected black hole in government finances of £4.7 billion by the end of the decade, and public sector reform is going to be at the very heart of how the government tackles that. So Jenny Gilruth, in her role not just as Deputy First Minister but as Finance Secretary, alongside Ivan McKee as Public Service Reform Secretary, and working with a brand new Deputy Minister, new MSP, Hannah Mary Goodlad as Public Finance Minister, will work together to make the public sector more efficient, more innovative and more cost effective. And that is a big challenge, but the First Minister clearly believes he has put the right trio in place to work across government to achieve that, because Jenny Gilruth has a reputation as a no-nonsense fixer. Ivan McKee did a lot of work behind the scenes negotiating budget deals in the last session of Parliament. So all the ministers are in Butte House now. I think only one of them has lost their job, and that is the Public Health Minister, Jenny Minto, who will not be making a return to government.
OK, Kirsten Campbell in Edinburgh, thank you. A murder trial has been shown the moment a schoolboy was stabbed to death on Irvine Beach. 2 teenagers are on trial at the High Court in Glasgow, accused of killing Caden Moy last year. Selina Jackson reports.
Caden Moy was 16 when he died after being stabbed on Irvine Beach last May. Today, the court was shown a recorded police interview from around 3 weeks after the incident with a witness who described Caden as his best friend. He said Cole Turley, Jay Stewart and a 15-year-old who can't be named had thrown rocks the size of hands at them on the beach. He claimed when he and Caden went to confront them, Turley pulled out a knife and Stewart produced an extendable baton. He said as they tried to run away, Caden tripped before Turley pounced on him and stabbed him. He recalled telling officers at the scene, "My best friend was stabbed by Cole Turley." 18-year-old Turley pleaded guilty to murder before the trial began. Members of Caden's family left the court before footage and still images from the day he died were shown to crime scene manager, Detective Constable Ali Dunn. In one picture, Caden could be seen lying on his side on the sand as a figure wearing black leaned over him. In cross-examination, Jay Stewart's lawyer, Donald Finlay KC, asked, "These are graphic images of Cole Turley committing the murder." Mr Dunn replied, "Yes." Mr Finlay asked, "At that point in time, he was a lone attacker?" Mr Dunn again agreed. 18-year-old Jay Stewart and the 15-year-old who can't be named deny murdering Caden Moy and have lodged a special defence of incrimination against Turley. They also deny attempting to pervert the course of justice, and the trial continues. Selina Jackson reporting Scotland at the High Court in Glasgow.
Hearts Football Club has hit out at what it calls highly irresponsible comments made about the Celtic Park pitch invasion on the last day of the season when the Glasgow club won the Scottish Premiership. It comes after Celtic boss Martin O'Neill dismissed claims the incident embarrassed Scottish football as nonsense. Well, our reporter Ben Phillip is at Parkhead Forest tonight. Ben, just remind us then what happened at the weekend.
Yeah, well, it's been 4 days now since that match here in Glasgow, Laura, but much of the talk has been about that pitch invasion by some Celtic fans and reports that some Hearts players and staff experienced abuse. Tonight, in a statement, Hearts said it's written to the SFA and the SPFL about what it describes as the premature ending of the match and expressing concerns about the pitch invasion, perhaps determining its duration. Earlier this week, the SPFL condemned the pitch invasion and said the referee had in fact ended the match and the match hadn't been abandoned.
And Ben, the statement also references some other comments made earlier this week.
Yeah, well, we understand that Hearts are responding to comments made by Martin O'Neill. The Celtic manager said there had been a lot of hyperbole about the incident. Hearts, in their statement, said it was aware of highly irresponsible comments which appeared to defend those who entered the pitch and undermined the gravity of the situation. Celtic have already apologised to Hearts and say that they will cooperate with the authorities. Tonight, Police Scotland say that inquiries into what happened here at Celtic Park at the weekend are ongoing.
OK, Ben in the East End of Glasgow, thank you. Well, one of the biggest challenges facing the new Justice Secretary, Neil Gray, is Scotland's prison population, which has just broken another record. It's now reached an all-time high of almost 8,600. The design capacity for the country's jails is 7,800. All of this comes just weeks after the latest emergency release of hundreds of convicted criminals. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan reports.
Every day the gym at HMP Kilmarnock is packed, and so is the jail. Scotland's first privately run prison was transferred into state ownership 2 years ago. An inspection report says the process was handled well, but some standards have slipped and overcrowding's a major issue. The facility was built to hold 501 prisoners. Yesterday it had 623. Nationwide, the prison population has hit 8,587, another all-time high. So why is this happening? One of the reasons is the justice system doing its job. More people are being convicted of serious organised crime and sexual offences. Sentences handed out by the courts are getting longer, and huge numbers are still being held on remand, waiting to stand trial. Kilmarnock's governor says politicians and the public should decide who really needs to be in jail.
I had a guy last week who came into this prison for a local court on a 2-day sentence. There was a recent case here, where I'll not mention the gentleman's name. A judge in Dumfries sent him to Kilmarnock prison on the basis that he considered Kilmarnock prison to be a place of safety because there was no social care bed available outside. Now, that gentleman came here twice on that basis. That cannot be right.
Since 2024, 1,400 prisoners have been granted emergency early release. This month, the automatic release point for some short-term prisoners is being lowered for a second time. But despite all these efforts, chronic overcrowding persists, hampering efforts to stop criminals reoffending.
I think, as I and my predecessors have said, there's been a stark choice facing Scotland for a long time. You either reduce the people coming into custody or you make custody spaces available for the population that you're incarcerating.
The Prison Officers Association says jails are understaffed. The prison service fears overcrowding is having an increasingly destabilising impact on jails. Back in power, the SNP-led Scottish Government accepts the situation as critical. It says it's increasing capacity in the prison estate, spending more on alternatives to custody and searching for new solutions. David Cowan reporting Scotland, Kilmarnock.
The Scottish Parliament's taken out the option to search for MSPs by gender on its website. It comes after the election of Holyrood's first 2 trans MSPs. The Parliament called it a legacy system that's been removed as part of a review to be more inclusive. The campaign group For Women Scotland wants the gender filter reinstated, saying its removal obscures female representation. Now, a former Scottish Green Party election candidate told BBC Scotland News she was distraught after being asked to stand down by the party because she was here on a student visa. That's despite someone else in the same situation being allowed to run, who was then elected as an MSP. The Scottish Greens have denied blocking any candidate. Well, let's speak now to our political correspondent, David Wallace-Lockhart. David, the accusation then is of double standards.
Yeah, this is Sai Shraddha Sharice Viswanathan. She's the current president of the National Union of Students in Scotland. She's originally from India. She's in the UK on a student visa, and she was due to be a Green candidate at the 2026 Holyrood election. But she says she was called by a party official in July last year who asked her to stand down because of her visa status, because they had legal advice that said she couldn't serve out a term as an MSP. Fast forward to the election this month, and Q Manavanan, another Green candidate, was elected as an MSP despite also being on a student visa. So Sai thinks there's been discrepancies here. She feels let down by the party. The Scottish Greens are saying that they didn't block any candidate because of their visa status, and they believe they've behaved appropriately here.
And you have been speaking to Sai today?
Yeah, and Sai is keen to stress she's happy to see the Greens doing well in the election. She's really happy for MSPs like Q Manavanan, but she does feel like she was treated differently by the party, and she's particularly upset about the party's version of events.
I was very much asked to withdraw. I was asked to step away from this race. Maybe I was nicely asked, but I was still asked to withdraw. I was, informed that I would be disqualified in any way. And that's something that I very clearly remember from the phone call, because I was very distraught after that phone call.
Now, Sai is saying her version of events there. The Greens are saying that they didn't block her as a candidate, but she's saying not that she was blocked per se, that she was asked to withdraw. And I've spoken to a number of people in the Scottish Greens with knowledge of the situation who do corroborate Sai's side of the story.
OK, David, thank you. OK, let's get tonight's sport now with Sheila, and the dust very much still settling on the end of the football season.
Yeah, there's still plenty of football news to keep us going, and it will do all summer, Laura. We can't wait for it. Hello there. French club Toulouse have made an official approach to Motherwell as they aim to appoint manager Jens Bertel Askau as their new head coach. Askau has made a big impression in his debut season at Fir Park, leading Motherwell to a 4th-placed finish in the Premiership and earning admiration for his side's attractive style of football. Toulouse's current boss is leaving the Ligue 1 club in the summer. Everton defender Nathan Patterson says anything can happen for Scotland at this summer's World Cup as he looks to get over the disappointment of missing the Euros through injury by making his mark on the global stage. The right-back was named in Steve Clarke's squad yesterday. I caught up with him earlier and I started by asking him how it feels to be on the plane to the US.
Yeah, it's massive. Obviously, we've not made a World Cup in a while, but I think we've got a really strong squad and look, it's international, it's one-off games, you know what I mean? So anything can happen and we'll make sure that we're ready for each game.
And after missing out on the Euros, of course, how much sweeter does it make this one?
Yeah, obviously that was disappointing to not be a part of that, but I went and seen the boys and obviously we didn't do what we usually can do, but hopefully this time round we can have a better tournament.
You haven't maybe played as much as you would have liked this season. Did that make you worry about your chances of getting in the squad?
Yeah, obviously it's always in the back of your mind, but any chance I got, I felt as if I'd done really well. Obviously the last camp with Scotland as well, I just wanted to make sure that I'd done well and made the gaffer have a think about who to put in the team, and I'm just delighted that I'm there on the plane.
Brazil also named their squad this week, the likes of Neymar back in, Vinicius Junior, Rafinha, etc. Does that get you even more excited, if you can be more excited about playing against them?
Yeah, it's brilliant. You want to be playing against the top players in the world. Obviously, we know Brazil are the top team in the group. But as I said, it's international football. Anything can happen, and we've got a fantastic squad as well. So I'm just looking forward to playing against these top players.
And what would it mean to be part of the first Scotland squad to get out of the group at a major tournament?
Yeah, that's the main aim. We obviously take each game as it comes, and we need to try and get as many points as we can. But if we can get out of the group and give the Scotland fans something to cheer about, then that's what we'll do.
Can you remember your first World Cup that you really got into?
It was probably the South Africa one, and just watching it and seeing the atmospheres and seeing how competitive the games were, the quality, and to be a part of that now is something to really look forward to.
And can you remember the players or the moments that really stood out for you?
One of my old managers, Van Bronckhorst, his goal for Holland is a moment you can obviously remember on the World Cup. But yeah, there's so many moments, so many top players that have played in the World Cup, and to say that you're going to be a part of that, it's a great achievement.
Now, while the regular league season is all over, there's still a lot of football to be played for Partick Thistle and St Mirren, who meet tomorrow night in the first of 2 legs to determine who will take their place in the top flight next season. It's second in the Championship against 11th in the Premiership, and this is the club's respective form going into the game. Thistle are undefeated in their last 5 outings with 4 draws and 1 victory, while their opponents dropped like a stone towards the end of the season but picked up a draw and a win in their last 2 games. Well, Saints boss Craig McLeish says he's confident but not complacent about preserving their Premiership status, asking his players to draw on the big game experience of winning the League Cup. But he's warned them of the importance of the playoff final.
Boys are playing for their futures, whether it's here or whether it's elsewhere, whether they're trying to get a new club. There'll be boys that move on and it's out with our control. There'll be boys that will move on because it's our decision. But that's we'll take care of all that after these games. But we've just had kind of 2 days of prep towards the game. The boys are in a really good place. Everyone's on board. Everyone's knows what we need to do over the next 2 games, and everyone's willing to kind of.
Well, Thistle booked their spot in the final with a narrow aggregate victory over Scottish Cup finalist Dunfermline. They trailed at half-time of the second leg before a second-half double from Logan Chalmers and one from Alex Samuel saw them progress to a winner-takes-all tie with the Saints. Firhill boss Mark Wilson is excited about the prospect of bringing top-flight football back to Maryhill.
Look, I feel we're ready. I feel we're really ready for these 2 games coming up. I feel we'd be ready to join the Premiership. I think as a club, when you see the support that turned out on Friday night, and when you see the support that will turn out tomorrow night, I think that would be a welcome addition to the Premiership. So I hope we can save some of our best performances for these 2 games, and I think, you know, if we manage to do that, get a positive result, we fully deserve to be in the Premiership.
And it's a big night for Scotland midfielder John McGinn. Laura, he's in the Europa League final with Aston Villa.
Absolutely, lots of people are going to be watching that with interest. OK, thank you, Sheila. We're watching this weather with interest as well,
Yes,
Christopher.
It is warming up,
Good.
albeit slowly, but it is warming up.
We're getting there.
And got some news for the bank holiday weekend as well, which you might just enjoy. Thank you very much indeed. Good evening to you. We've had an improving picture with today's weather. There was a lot of cloud around earlier with some outbreaks of rain, but by the end of the afternoon, many of us saw some sunshine. Then evening sunshine to come, the rain departing Shetland. However, through the early hours, cloud thickens again and further outbreaks of rain arrive from the southwest. Temperatures in towns and cities 6 to 10 Celsius, a touch colder through parts of the rural northeast, down to around 3 degrees. So tomorrow, low pressure with us, weather fronts and rain working their way northwards. So it will be a cloudy and a wet start across many parts of the country tomorrow morning, with that rain lifting northwards after some morning sunshine for Orkney and Shetland. The cloud and rain reaches your shores. Through the afternoon, it's a drier picture, but still cloudy with a few spots of light rain or drizzle, a few bright glimpses breaking through, but not the afternoon sunshine that we saw today. Temperature-wise, 17 or 18 degrees in any prolonged sunshine in the northeast, 20 Celsius. A little bit cooler towards the northwest with a little more breeze here, and you can see that rain still in play through parts of Fair Isle and Shetland. And then tomorrow evening, another area of wet weather working its way up the western side of the country as we head overnight. That takes us to Friday, and high pressure across the near continent, just giving a little more influence, but you can see a weather front there bringing some clouds. So it's a battle between the high pressure and low pressure. So a cloudy start, but brightening up into the afternoon. Temperatures 19, 20, maybe 21 degrees. And then to the weekend, that high pressure becoming more dominant, keeping things predominantly dry and settled. However, across parts of the Highlands and Islands, closer to weather fronts, it's going to be cloudier, cooler and breezier with a few showers. Elsewhere, a cloudy start gives way to sunny afternoons. A similar picture on Sunday. You can see temperatures into the low 20s fairly widely, but cooler and cloudier in the northwest. And Bank Holiday Monday, take a look at this, doesn't look too bad at all. There will be some morning cloud around, but sunshine breaking through. 23 or 24 degrees could be yours. That's the forecast for now.
I do have to say that some people are still working on Monday.
Yes, me too.
Thank you, Christopher. Now, tonight's main news again. And a review has found there were missed opportunities to protect children from a paedophile ring. The experts' findings come after 7 people were convicted of being involved in abuse at a Glasgow property dubbed the Beastie House by victims. And that is reporting Scotland for now. I will have your late news at 10:30 tonight. And don't forget, the news at 7 is coming up shortly over on the BBC Scotland channel. Switch over now. Until then, from everyone on the team, enjoy your evening.